Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian, welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 26, featuring the Colorado Rockies. In our previous episode, we have a brand new owner, not a member of the Montfort family. We have Tim Collins. Mr. Tim here has decided not to give us a very big budget. We have a little bit of money to fuck around with, just a little bit. But maybe that's okay. Maybe that's fine. Maybe. But what we do need to do is we need to try to get ourselves back to the postseason. Now, in a very realistic sense, we missed the postseason for exactly one reason and one reason only. Charlie Condon didn't play his usual 150 plus games. I'm not saying that's the entirety of what went wrong last year, but it is worth mentioning we were very close to making the postseason. Very, very close. We were literally tied for the last wildcard spot, but the Mets had the tiebreaker, so they're the ones who got it. So I don't think it's unreasonable to say we would have gotten at least one more win with Charlie Condon. So other than don't let Charlie Condon get hurt, what can we do to get better? We've got a lot of things we need to improve upon. Colin Ritchie is an indifferent third baseman. He's not very good at the job. He's acceptable, but it's hard to get too excited about him, right? Isaiah Swain, great offensive year, dumpster fire in the field. We have too many players for too few defensive spots. So Swain playing third base is an option, but then what do you do with Ritchie? And we still need to worry about Milam. I think we have to give this one some serious thought. The more troubling issue is that Ezekiel Tovar is slipping a little bit. That's something we're going to have to consider. But the most obvious solution to our current logjam is not letting Milam DH. Just letting him be a backup catcher. But he had a really good year last year. Like, really good. So, maybe that means you say goodbye to Drew Romo. Well, we can't say goodbye to Drew Romo yet. Drew Romo's got another full year on his contract. And wasn't a bad player either. So this is going to take some juggling to really get what we want to happen. Where can we upgrade? I still don't love our outfield situation. I still think we need some upgrades, although Fermin playing in the outfield again might be useful. Rodney Green was decent, although it's crucial to identify why he was so good, which is his power. His isolated slugging is actually quite good. He's not necessarily a big power guy. So expecting him to be like a top player year in and year out is probably not good enough. And to make matters worse, we don't really have high-level hitters that are ready for the big leagues. So we have decisions to make for certain that's really going to impact how things go on from there. All right, do you have any coaches assigned? I think the answer is no, but we can at least look. Nope. Let's get some development started then. I would look for Begin. I know he's already redonkulous, but if he could get his control to being around 50, I think he becomes even more terrifying. Our bullpen was amazing. Will Levitt wants to work on those secondary pitches. This, I think, will also help us out significantly. Fernando Romero, I don't remember who you are. Oh, I signed you last offseason. You could do with some better control, maybe. Ruben Santa Cruz, Action's control is fine. I could increase his pitch movement. That would be useful. We got 4 people to Major League level getting some reps in. That's great. Let's work on some prospects, too. Jeff Jaglinski. I'd love for him to actually end up being a catcher. He's not a catcher. Huh. Did I know Kurt Norton was a two-way player? I think I did know that. Work on your control, actually. Rodarte, I need you to keep developing. Whatever you can improve is going to be useful. Your on base percentage has actually been pretty good in the minors. What your problem has actually just been is just consistency. You need more playing time. You need more playing time at a more challenging level. Because for whatever reason, the AI decides not to play you when you have the opportunity. But you're most definitely ready for AA. So in order to help with that, let's have you work on your plate discipline. I know it's not the most thrilling, but I think it's very useful. The other alternative is gap power. Maybe gap power is the right answer here. Maybe letting him drive the ball more is going to get him to the majors. Yasukawa. Let's get Danny Gonzalez some plate discipline work. And let's get Yasukawa probably some plate discipline, I think, is fine. Alright, let's check arbitration. It never fails, guys. It never fails. I always have to sneeze. It truly boggles the mind. The mind, she is boggled, and such and such. Like, literally, every time I'm about to say something, it's like, oh, it's time to sneeze. Like, what the fuck, man? Alright. So, actually, this is a pleasant little surprise. I did not expect we'd get Chase Ozuna back. I didn't think we'd get a year of arbitration out of him. I do not mind the idea of giving him a year to figure out his shit. I think that's probably fine. So let's make it happen. He's not getting $6 million, but I will give him $4 million. I do think $4 million is not unreasonable, especially if he can return and be an asset. So Shin is an interesting guy. He's very interesting. Under any description, he looks like a mid kind of pitcher. But it's really, really well, though, is he doesn't get hit very hard. And he also happens to be very, very durable. This has value to us. It's not infinite value, though. And he's wanting a pretty substantial raise. And the problem is he's already 34. That cannot be overstated. He is already 34. Which means it is not wise of us to spend a great deal of money hoping that he will continue to be a top-tier pitcher. He's already shown some signs of decline. If we take a look at his scouting report, he's lost velocity. These are big warning signs. I have enough interesting starting pitching prospects that there is probably somebody that can take his role. And so I think letting Shin go is reasonable. I think it's not a terrible idea. Then again, if we do let him go, I don't have an immediate replacement. Ruben Santa Cruz is probably the closest. But as you can tell right now, he's nothing special. But then again, like, Shin is a very much... I really don't want to pay him. But he was unusually unlucky and still had a fairly productive season last year. What does a package look like for him? Is there any chance of getting some decent value out of him? Or is it just... Okay. So the question becomes, is it free up the roster spot and save a little money, or do we bring him back for one more year? I think bringing him back for a year is probably fine. Probably. Yeah, even like the worst version of Shin, excuse me, for the 2029 version, is still worth $6 million. Like, that's still a pretty good deal for an innings eater. So, what if we did one of these things? What if we did... something like this. This works for me. This gives me absolute protection in case he washes out, while letting me keep him if it turns out he's valuable. This actually makes a lot of sense to me. I like Cooper McKeon. I do like Cooper McKeon. But he is on the tightest of ropes. And I don't think I can afford to keep him anymore. I think this is it for Cooper McKeon. He's a junk balling lefty. He's already losing velocity. I think it's a bad idea to keep him. So I think we go ahead and non-tender him and wish him well. We'll even mark him as a former Rocky. Torres and Begin definitely get signed. 100%. Now, Begin concerns me because he's going to want to get paid all of the money. For a guy who is quite literally the best closer in Major League Baseball, I think giving him all of the money is probably what we have to do. What does a long-term deal look like for you? Let's say like an 8-year deal. $22 million a year is an awful lot of money spent on a reliever. I recognize this. But he's really that good. Yeah, I should probably do it. Yeah, this makes sense. Let's do it. I know my rules always been don't play closers. I think he is the exception because he's been so exceptionally good. Like, he has been better than our starting pitchers. This is a closer that is capable of winning an MVP award. And so I think we have to open up the checkbook for that. Milam is so interesting. He is very clearly ready to be a full-time catcher. And the problem is, I am not the team that can give him that opportunity unless we trade Drew Romo. And I don't think anyone's going to want to trade for Drew Romo. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's very likely. So, paying him $8 million is a lot of money. But it's not as much money as if I didn't have him. So I think we do it. I'm just handing out giant sacks of cash this season. Dollies. So the worst case scenario for Dollies is we have a very solid backup infielder. The best case is we have somebody that's a good starting infielder. Either way, I think it's important to keep him around, so keep him around we shall. Remember that we don't typically spend a lot of money in free agency, so spending all this money to keep our own players is probably fine. Begin does worry me. I think of all the contracts we are going to make with this team, paying a reliever that much money does make me uncomfortable. But I see why it's still useful, right? Like, I still see why we would want to do that. Yeah. I don't really want to run it back. let me put that one out there. I do not want to run it back and come back with the exact same result. I like to be better. Better involves a few very key developments. Key development number one is Santa Cruz starts and pitches well. That would be tremendous. That will make us a better team infinitely. Significantly better team. Rodarte and Yasukawa I'm going to promote right now before I forget about it. Because they're both wasted in high A. For sure. Crawford, Byers, Roque, Pizzulo, Demers. Oh, Demers is already fine. Okay, fine. Carlos Martinez didn't have that great a season in high A. I'm going to send him... No, we'll just leave Morias right now. We think Jeffcoat and Alvarez should be promoted. I'm fine with both of those names. Adama should be promoted. Fine. That's okay. But most of my young players right now are relievers. They're not starters. Atkinson, fine. Rivera, maybe. I do not want Xavier Morales, and I don't want him because he basically is only good at first base. I think he's a talented hitter. I think he does have a future in the major leagues. I'm not going to be the one to give it to him. I just don't see the point. So we're going to go ahead and give Mr. Morales here his walking papers and see if anybody wants to give us... Oh, maybe that's why nobody wanted to trade for what's-his-face. An elite caliber reliever is not nothing. Peter Wilson is just Xavier Morales, but the same age. Can we get a package? How the fuck can you not endorse this proposal? Seriously. Aaron, I don't know what your problem is. I don't know why you think 2 elite relievers is not a useful return for a guy that we're not going to play anyway. I get why you may not be enamored with Munoz. He doesn't have a ton of velocity, but I think we just do it. Like, this is genuinely a good deal. Done. I don't know why you're being weird about it, but you should stop. Freddie Munoz. Why does your name sound familiar to me? Maybe he was in, like, the other thing? Maybe. You get to go on the 40-man. I do need to create room on the 40-man. This is known to me. Part of this will deal with itself. Let us now proceed. It might actually yell at me to put people on the 40-man. Maybe. James Quinn Irons has been claimed. Oh no. What a devastating development. Okay. I mean, I genuinely don't care. I could just release Cooper McKeon, since I'm not going to keep him because it frees up a 40-man spot, which I need for probably somebody. I could very easily lose people in the Rule 5. This is a fact of life. The question is, what am I willing to do about it? I don't know how I have 40 players on the 40-man. I genuinely don't know what the deal is here. But I don't want players like these slipping. Ryan Moore can go. I'm just going to release Cooper McKeon now. What are you doing, game? I want to release him. Yeah. I'm sorry, Cooper, but I was never going to keep you, and I need your roster swap. Um, of these choices, I want to keep Enriquez. He's not the worst outfielder, and he's got some pretty nice raw power. There is a universe in which he has a bigger role to play. I want to keep him for that reason. RJ Caironi, I think, also needs to be kept. I think he's a very talented relief pitcher. So we're going to do that. Plus, I just traded for him. Who else can we get rid of? I don't think McAble is going to be somebody that we keep. I understand the defense made him look worse than he is. Maybe he's worth keeping. Who here is genuinely fungible? Probably Burciaga. It's probably okay to get rid of. Acevedo sucking really hurts. Like, that causes me actual pain. I think Pablo Diaz is worth keeping. Johnny Anderson is actually fairly well developed, so we could even add him to the majors this year. So maybe Anderson is also worth keeping. One more person we need to get rid of here. Probably Cooper Dossett. Like, every season, he's always like the last guy to be added to the roster. And while I know that he could potentially do a good job, I'm not willing to find out. Between Olsen, Kachin, and Diaz, who would I most like to keep? Olsen has no control. He is doomed. Kachin has control and is not doomed. Do we keep Bobby Vega? Bobby Vega is actually quite talented, and I've only got 3 catchers on the 40-man. I would like to carry a 4th. I think Fauski is a perfectly acceptable backup catcher, but I think Vega does have unplumbed depth, so to speak. I think we let Weston Moss go. Does anybody want to acquire Weston Moss? Literally a bag of baseballs. Nobody? Alright, then Mr. Moss, I'm going to waive you so that I can add Bobby Vega to my list here. I saw some fairly decent players that aren't being protected, and if that bites me in the butt later on, then it does, but I think we're keeping the right people. Yeah, let's just advance time a bit. So this season coming up is going to be Romo's last season. For any one of a number of reasons, I cannot afford to keep him anymore. And that sucks. Like, Romo is a very good player. He's a great leader. I think we can afford to let that go because I need Milan playing every day. Does anybody want Romo at all? Maybe. This is an unexpected development. Oh, no, not multiplayer, sorry, prospect package is what I was looking for. I'm getting some really good offers here. Now, I saw one that had a blue plus a second player. Navarez sucks. Navarez is not good enough. I like Carmona, but I don't like Navarez. David Brooks is fine. Oriana is unexciting. Yeah, I do not trust Navarez in the slightest. Edgar Rodriguez is decent. I don't know why he's rated as 60. I truly don't. Let me look for individual players now, because like trading him for 3 yellows is not good enough. Like, he is a franchise cornerstone. I need something to show for it. What do we have here? I like Cody Kastner quite a bit. He's a good defender. He's got some pretty good offensive skills. This is something that could be workable. I love Vito Gonzalez's positional flexibility, but he's really just first and third. And as it is, that's fine. But that's where we are with him. John Hicks is decent. He's not exceptional, but he is decent. If we could get you to throw on another prospect or two, this is the deal I would take. Tony Atley wouldn't be a terrible choice. Okay, Atley is asking for too much. Message received. You're the kind of guy that I've just tended to gravitate towards, and I don't think it's very smart. A guy hit ball far, but does everything else poorly. I don't really want to get involved with that. Dan Salas is really good. I would love to acquire him. But not for what's being offered here. I mean, I guess we give you Mike Wilson. Mike Wilson isn't anything special. Yeah, this is probably the right decision. The fans are going to be pissed off at me, but when they see what comes of it, I think they'll be fine. Let's do it. This solves so many issues. Now it becomes interesting to offer Milam a longer term deal. But I think letting him catch every day is the right decision here. Like, I think that was the right move. I know the fans might not see it that way. The fans might be grouchy with me, but I hope that they can see it. I hope they see why I did it. Vito Gonzalez, I might honestly just turn around and trade you again. Like, what you are is fine, but you're not something that I personally prize. What does somebody want for you? Like, I see no reason why he ever has to suit up for the Rockies, because I don't think he's all that great. Alberto Quiroz, the rare second baseman that doesn't know how to play second. Travis Simula is kind of neat. I could kind of get behind that. Yeah. Florentino doesn't excite me. Yeah, we'll go for Simula. Simula is more useful to me than Gonzalez is, so there we go. Done. Alright, guys. I don't care enough about Simula to put him on the 40 man, though. That's not a concern of mine. Okay. So that feels good. That felt like the right decision. I know it won't be popular with some of the fans, but this solves so many problems that it had to be done. It had to be done. And we're just gonna have to adjust to it as a team. Can I offer Milam another extension? Probably. Oh, probably not till the new league year. That makes sense. I don't want to give him one more year. I don't want to commit to him right now. Oh, Kester? Hmm. And just send all these nerds to AAA and we'll sort out the rest of it later. Do we get any gold gloves? Drew Romo literally traded right before he got a gold glove. Let me be clear. I feel like Romo still got something left in the tank. I didn't have the flexibility to do what I wanted to do. It was necessary. It was required to move on from Romo to fix the defense. Begin better win reliever of the year. I will honestly be annoyed if Begin doesn't get some Cy Young votes. That's how I feel about him. But yes, I don't hate. I don't dislike Romo. This was about bring up the roster spot and giving us more capabilities. Richie won a Silver Slugger at third base. That's pretty cool. I'm down. I'm down to clown as far as that's concerned. Did he get any Cy Young votes? Did Mr. Begin here? League News is taking a sweet time. Okay, fine. Okay, this is highway robbery. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that Crochet and Skeens weren't great because Skeens should have won. Like, I get it, but Skeens should have won. Begin was worth 4.2 wins. That's as much as Crochet. This is mean. It's rude. And I don't approve of it. I don't care for it. Yeah, I hear you, Kester. I hear you. I don't really want to keep Kester, if I'm being honest with you. I'd rather waive him, and if somebody claims him, they claim him. Because while he does serve a valuable role, it's not a role that Hell can't fill. Ado Cal can't fill. So I think Mr. Kester, I think I'm going to try to get you through waivers. If somebody claims you, they claim you. And that's whatever. We deal with it, but I don't want to put you on the 40 man. Alright. Let's check on free agent arenas. Nope. Mm-mm. If I signed Mr. Ida here, let's talk about what happened if I signed Mr. Ida. I would have no payroll flexibility at all. Is he good enough? Maybe. I mean, I've been sitting here complaining about how much we don't have the outfield that we need. But this would effectively, completely, and utterly shred any chance of us being able to afford a consistently great team. But he is a pretty damn good hitter, isn't he? I can't do this contract, can I? It's really stupid. But man, if you would take a 3-year deal with gave me a couple of options, I would make this deal. He's probably going to laugh in my face, but let's ask about it, right? Let's consider the opportunity. Is this something that would interest you? No. I do not want to give a 31-year-old a contract takes until they're 37 unless I know that he can handle it. I know you're all groaning right now, probably justifiably so. You're probably all thinking to yourselves, you constantly complain about not having a great outfielder. Here's a great outfielder dropped into your lap. I get that. If we keep him, I cannot keep other players on my team. But this might be the decision to make if we want to win a singular World Series. Like, maybe he makes that big of a difference. That if we have him for 1 year, whatever else happens, then we're in great shape. See, this concerns me. This is not quick enough. I want to be in this conversation, right? I want to be in this conversation here. If I can get a second option, I will stomach this. This is very, very much go big or go home, right? That is where we are right now. Like, if this deal works out, well, you pretty much have to win. We pretty much have to win the World Series. Okay. This is it, by the way. This is what we're doing here. Either we sign him or we don't sign anyone. That costs actual money, right? I have no desire to have Moises chase because he is scum. Remember, we could have had Suk-Hoon Lee, and I decided not to bother with it, and that cost us. That's kind of part of why I'm willing to go heavy on Ida. The Giants, I don't want Gabriel Barbosa. He is evil. He's not evil, but... Alright. This is my final offer to you. If you take this deal, fine. If you don't take it, that is equally fine. But I cannot get it for to get into a bidding war with the Dodgers. I don't have their resources. It would effectively cripple my ability to sign players that aren't you. Brenton Doyle got traded to the Gents. Lucas Gordillo got traded. I can cast my ballot. Wow. Nelson Cruz, Freddie Freeman, McCutcheon, Aaron Judge. Like, this is just the AI being stupid, right? Like, there is no universe in which Aaron Judge isn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. Unless, I guess, like, I think he technically hasn't had 10 years in the majors yet. So, like, he's quite literally legally not permitted to be in the Hall of Fame at the second. Aaron Judge is going to be first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, I have no doubt about it. He has done things that no right-handed hitter has ever done in Major League history. He's real bloody good. Like, I cannot imagine a world in which he doesn't go into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. He might even be unanimous. That's how good he has been. Obviously, things can happen. He could melt down. He could have a terrible rest of the career. He could pull an Andrew Jones and just like wreck his value past a certain point. But it really seems unlikely to me. It really seems unlikely. Winter meetings are happening. That's a thing that is occurring. That's kind of fun, I guess. I have no desire to acquire Cade Smith, but thank you for the offer. EA hasn't told us no yet, which I find very interesting. People are mostly doing okay. Suk-Hoon Lee just got paid $30 million for 2 years. Alright. Any Rule 5 picks that I want? Maybe. I could be persuaded. But I had to make room on the 40-man, wouldn't I? I do like Carbajal here, actually. I would really not mind a starting pitcher if it looked like they had the right skill set. Almodovar isn't the hardest thrower, but he's got really good skills that could pay some bills. I think this is the guy I could get behind. Yeah, that's a thing that could happen here. Obviously, Angel Mercado is fantastic, but let's get Almodovar. Let's see how this works out for us. I lost to Danny Martinez. That's not unexpected. He's a reliever. It's hard for me to get worked up about him. I don't know that I even want another Rule 5 player, to be honest with you. I think I got what I wanted, which was a starter that can compete for a rotation spot now that Weston Moss is gone. And we kept everybody else, which makes you pretty happy. A lot of people have claimed Dihigo. This doesn't surprise me either. Like, he's a good player. I don't have a spot for him at this moment. This may be something I end up regretting, because he is genuinely quite talented, but getting Ida helps. Okay. Well, Rodney Green, I would like you to know I genuinely intended to keep you around. I genuinely intended to give you an opportunity to show that you were amazing. But then this fell into my lap. And see you later, Rodney. I wish you well in your future endeavors. Hello, Ida. Okay, to be clear, Cannarella is a better center fielder. So Ida's going to be playing either left or right. I really don't care. Probably left field, we'll say. Sure, that's fine. His raw offensive capabilities make this team extremely dangerous now. I recognize I have very little money to spend now. I shot my shot. I wanted somebody that would make this team even better, and that is what we have accomplished here. I have zero regrets. Zero. Unless, of course, like, his arm, like, disintegrates or whatever, and he drops dead or something. Oh, yeah, so I say, wow, the Rockies dealt green. Oh, yeah, I'm the Rockies, aren't I? This means I don't get to take much part in international free agency this year. That's fine. Nice. We made some commercial. That's kind of fun. Maybe that'll help the team. Freddie Freeman sailed in. That's cool. Nice. All right. I would love to grab Manfredino Prignano. I will instantly make my complex not full to sign a pitcher of that caliber. Okay? Here, look at this. Everyone who's 19. Hell, if you're 18. I'm gonna put you in the minors. I guess I'll just cut some of these guys, but yeah, 18 is old enough to be in the minors every day. Now I got the room. I don't think he's going to sign for that. I think he's probably going to sign with somebody who's going to pay him the max cap, but this is the problem, right? This is what happens when you invest heavily in one player. Is it going to work out? I don't know. I hope so. Yeah, I can't compete with Atlanta. I think I just don't sign any international amateurs this year. Man, so much is riding on Ida. So very, very much is riding on Ida. Yeah, put Swain back at third, and I don't want to see his face mentioned in right field anymore. We probably need to start planning for who's going to replace Tovar. That's probably what we're reaching at some stage here. It's not an imminent decision, but it is a decision that's going to have to be made. Spurn Turning, okay. Artenson, Olsen, Salas, Samula, Atkinson, Zapata. Rodarte is already on the roster, isn't he? Yeah, Yasukawa can enjoy himself in the majors for a bit. Crawford and Byers can do the same. Demers, Garcia, Diaz, Martinez, Mendez, Pizzulo, Great Scott, Mr. Jeffcoat, Mr. Alvarez, and Mr. Brunson, and Sell Delgado, maybe. He might have a chance. Maybe. Go ahead and do your thing here. We're going to run out of 6-man rotation. All right, let's simulate through spring training. Bigging didn't get better, but other people did, which is pretty exciting. The most important thing is nobody got worse, so I will accept that. I will 100% accept that. If I intended to play this, say for like 30 or 40 seasons or whatever, like I might do for the White Sox series, I probably don't make the Ida move. But we have had so many problems developing outfielders other than Canarella, and even he's kind of dicey, to be real with you, that I think we would be utter fools not to consider it. Not to consider the big time swing. And yes, if you were somebody that's been following the series from the beginning, and you said, but Abby, you said you would mostly try to do it off of people that were developed through your system. That's exactly what I've done. Okay? I have developed the vast majority of the players on this team. There are 3 international free agents right now. 1 hitter in Ida, and 2 pitchers in Minjun Shin and Manuel Pineda. That's it. That's what we've done with international free agency. If that bothers you, if you want to put an asterisk, then you can do as you like. But these are people that I found and acquired. People that nobody else wanted. And I think that's every bit as realistic as, anything else we could have done. Like Pablo Torres, one of the best setup relievers, right? He got cut by the A's, and I signed him. Like, none of these people played a single major league appearance, an inning. They haven't thrown a pitch in anger. They haven't hit a pitch in anger for anybody other than me. And so I feel perfectly content. If this ends up working out, then I'm going to take all the credit. It just doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, though, then I get it. I understand that. But, yeah. Jesus Aviles is pretty average. Luis Ortega is pretty average. It's not good enough for Kester. I'm not saying that Kester is anything great or useful, but I'd be trading for basically nothing. That's fundamentally, it's nothing. And that's not going to work for me, dog. That's not going to be good enough. All right, games are done. Let's get our roster configured. So, how many pitchers do I have? I have 31 pitchers. We want to get down to 13. Okay, 13 is the goal. Acevedo barely pitched last year. He's going to go back to Double-A. Atkinson to the minors. Byers to the minors. Chiron to the minors. Cashin to the minors. Pablo Diaz to the minors. Minors. I will sort out who goes where. This is just about them getting off my roster right now. Anybody who's not at least yellow and overall is not going to stay on the team. I don't have to do that. I don't need to do that, so I'm not going to do it. This gets me down to basically 2 pitchers. I only need to get rid of 2 more pitchers, which is pretty solid. Almodovar, you're not making the team. Thank you for your consideration. And I think Johnny Anderson's control is much too unrealistic, so we're gonna do that. So this means we have 1 minor league reliever that makes the team this year, which is Aronson. So congratulations, Aronson. I'm sure your parents are very proud. And this is it. This is the kind of team that I want to run. So here we go. I like it. Romero doesn't really work for me as a long reliever. I think he works better as a middle reliever that doesn't get important innings. Nick Aronson is about the same against either hand, so I will secondarily make him a specialist. I don't want anyone being an opener. I think our rotation is good enough that we don't have to worry about that stuff. Is this a Major League quality rotation? Maybe. I'm not getting the pitch count yet. I want to give him 1 more year, but this feels like a pretty okay pitching staff to me. This feels acceptable. All right. Hitters. I do not need 6 catchers. Nobody has ever needed 6 catchers. The question is it Vega or is it Fauski? Vega is... Let's actually compare the two. Okay. Vega is the better hitter. He's the better hitter in the future. Fauski's better right now. And defensively, Fauski is also the better catcher, so I think this makes an easy decision to send Vega back to AAA. All right. Jeff Jeffcoat goes to the minors. Zapata goes to the minors. Simula goes to the minors. Demers goes to the minors. Enriquez goes to the minors, and Rodarte goes to the minors. Probably Grady Emerson also goes to the minors. I think Rodarte's played well enough to definitely start the year in Double A. I'm going to do the same thing with Yasukawa. I'm not even going to entertain him starting the year in the major leagues. It ain't going to happen, guys. Tisn't. I think Brunson just sucks, to be honest with you. I have no compunction against putting him in the minors, but that's how I feel. Garcia's not very good. Martinez isn't very good. I've got to send 2 more position players elsewhere. Here's what's interesting to me. Emerson is the only guy that I trust to play shortstop if something happens to Tovar. Emerson's about as good as Tovar, maybe even slightly better. Do we say goodbye to Tovar? Is that crazy talk? Yeah, for right now. Oh, I can't trade him anyway because he got 10-5. Never mind. I don't need 6 outfielders. I feel like Brito has more to learn in the minors, so I think we sent him to AAA. So we have 5 outfielders. An infielder's got to go. I think it's Dolly's. Let me tell you why. Actually... No, Leona's also captain, as is Fauski. Okay, great. I think it's got to be Delis. For one reason and one reason only. I trust Emerson to play shortstop if something happens to Tovar. I do not trust Delis to play shortstop if something happens to Tovar. Second base or third base, he can fill in beautifully. So you go to the minors. Now let's set up our lineups here. Let's do the things. Shall we? I still believe that Cam Cannarella can be an effective leadoff hitter. But maybe it's too much to ask for right now. But if it's not Cannarella, who leads off? That, I think, is the more interesting question. And I think it has to be him. If we have a leadoff hitter at all, it has to be Cannarella. So I feel pretty good about that. I think Tovar now hits second. I think that's where we are. I think letting Tovar hit second to set the table for Ida and Condon is the right choice. Who hits fifth? Probably Colin Ritchie. I feel pretty good about that decision. I don't want Ritchie playing third base. I want him DHing. So Ritchie's got better range and better errors than Swain does. I think Swain is actually the better third baseman. However, what we're going to do is we're going to do something like... Wait, is Swain limited at all? He is better against lefties, but it's not that big a difference. Okay. Ritchie is pretty good either way, so I think we let Ritchie hit fifth. The only question is, does Ritchie DH or does Ritchie play third? And the thing is, Richie hasn't been terrible at third base. He's more or less muddled through. And it's not like Swain is a future Gold Glover. I think we keep Richie as our third baseman. I think that's what I'm going to come down on. And then Swain DHs. I think that's the right choice here. That's what makes the most sense to me. Bryant Milam is going to go ahead and hit 6th. Santiago Leon is going to hit 8th. And then who plays right field? It's either going to be Kel or Fermin. And I like the idea of getting like another leadoff type in Fermin hitting at the bottom of the lineup. Hell's got a bit more power. Ito Kel has a bit more power and is also quite a good outfielder. I could go with either one. Kel is really good. Ito Kel is really, really good against left-handed pitching, so I think we let him start right field there. And I think we go out and let Anderson Fermin play here. That's the move. So we're going to generate ourselves a depth chart. I do prefer Swain, but I don't mind the idea of letting Cal get some reps in right. This works for me. I'm pretty happy with this lineup. Pretty happy with this team. If we make the postseason, and we should, I mean, but anything can happen, right? Injuries are always part of the game. You can never predict what precisely will happen at any given time. I have some concerns about things. What is the things I have concerns about? Is this the kind of rotation that could win a postseason? Probably not. Maybe? I don't know. It's an interesting rotation. It's not one that has the most upside right this second. But we're almost there, guys. To the point where it is something we can rely upon. Getting Swain out of right field is massive. Very, very big. And letting Richie try third base, I think, is reasonable. I think Fauski is finally getting his chance to be an everyday backup, and I think it's something he's going to run with. But realizing he, too, has a very, very short leash. Leon has the potential to be a big piece of this club. Very, very big. I think our defense is vastly improved. I think letting Ida play whatever position he wants to play. Fermin is great. Ito Clay, Ito Hell is great. You're both very, very good defensive outfielders. You've got some offensive chops. Obviously, it's Ida, right? Ida is what makes this team either World Series caliber or not. If he performs the way we expect that he will, it's going to be a very special season. Like, consider for a moment here, right? Condon has 75 power, and he's been able to hit 40 plus home runs pretty regularly. He is not as good as Ida. Ida could pull like an Albert Bell style 50-50 season, 50 home runs, 50 doubles, and it wouldn't shock me. He's got a tremendous batting eye. He is very, very good, is the key takeaway here. And if he hits the way that we expect him to hit, everything is going to look gorgeous. Everything is going to fall into place, and we're going to be in really great shape. But it's not a guarantee. Nothing is guaranteed. So I'm still very excited to see what happens in this season. Very, very excited. Priorities for next offseason, the biggest one probably would be re-signing Milan to a longer contract. I don't have the money now. There's a very realistic possibility where Milan has to leave the team because I just can't afford him. I hope that's not what happens, but it could happen. Dalis is probably gone as one way to save some money. Um, yeah. Ida's really expensive, but possibly worth it. The real big ticket item, the low key big ticket item, is going to be Will Levy. That's going to be an expensive contract, and justifiably so. Any pitcher that performs this well in Colorado is a rare asset. Very rare. Can we even re-sign him, or is it just going to be like, yeah? So that's a thing we're going to have to think about. We're also asking a lot of Ozuna, but if Ozuna ends up either pitching poorly or getting hurt, that's why Santa Cruz is starting the season as the emergency starter. A Santa Cruz that fully develops is excellent. It's exactly what we're looking for. I do need to juggle the minors, don't I? Okay. Ward to high A, Rosas to high A, Pasola to high A, Turner to high A, Edwin Rodriguez to high A, Kevin Davis to high A, Pat Jones to high A. Okay. Remember when Edgar Isaiah was like my boy and he could do nothing wrong? Remember those days? I remember them. I probably have too many players here. Probably. Maybe definitely. Yeah, Danny Gonzalez has earned a promotion to A-ball. I don't think anyone disputes that. Mario Marquez can also be promoted, I suppose. Dave Gama, you can say goodbye. Travis Cooper, you can say hello. Does anybody want Isaiah? Is there literally anyone who will give me literally anything for him? Just to get the finances off my books. Nope. Mm. Espinal can be released. Scott Rios is fine, I suppose. I guess. Danny Scott can go down to A-ball. I'm going to say goodbye to Cristian De Los Santos, and I'm going to send Bobby Mendez back to A-ball. No, he dominated in high A. He's worthy of a promotion. Earl Carlson, goodbye. I'll send Mendez to double A. James Nunnally can be released. He doesn't really do anything for me. Will anybody take Pablo Diaz in trade? Will anybody take the guy who has no control? I feel like he'll get some offers, right? Like he has to. Yeah, there we go. Like Jaden Ford is just a much better prospect than him. I think we just make this trade and don't even question it. I get that Pablo Diaz could be a starter. I understand that that's a he's actually got more skill than I thought he did. You almost got me, guys. Johnny Anderson can be traded. Johnny Anderson is much more. His control's never really going to get better, and because it won't, I am not willing to keep him around. You know? Wow, nobody wants Johnny Anderson, huh? Well, fuck you guys, too. Freddie Munoz might get better. He might. Remember when I got excited about Oscar Vasquez? Like, oh man, this guy's gonna be so good, and then it turned out he sucked? Yeah, I remember that. I think a catcher with no arm is somebody I can safely release. I think that's probably okay. Anybody want a catcher that can't throw? But that is Avila from the Pirate series a couple games ago. Had very little throwing arm. But I don't have to worry about that kind of thing. Okay. You can get promoted here. Something I haven't been doing in past episodes, I haven't been moving people as aggressively as I should. I haven't been doing regular reviews of the minor leagues, and that's probably a mistake. But it's a mistake that I'll probably continue to make, but I will try to be cognizant of it. Friends, I feel like this is our year. I feel like adding Ida, unless he completely shits the bed, is such. He's such a force multiplier. That's the word I was looking for earlier. I couldn't quite think of it earlier. He makes Condon better. Condon's going to see better pitches because people are going to be scared of Ida. He makes Tovar better because people would rather pitch to him than Ida. Canarella and Tovar can focus on getting on base. Richie and Condon and Milam should all have base runners to drive home. I feel good about it. I feel pretty good about this lineup. I feel pretty good about this team overall. If the team has a weakness, it's the starting rotation. The only guy who can't miss every fifth day is Levy, with Pineda and Shin also being valuable. What are we gonna get from Abel? What are we gonna get from Ozuna a year after he missed most of the year? I don't know. I don't know. We have enough interesting players in the bullpen. I had no intention of promoting Nick Aronson, but that's where we are. He's in the majors, so I hope he is able to figure it out pretty effectively. Yeah. Torres is great. This is a big season for Cruz. Cruz has had an okay season and a not very good season. He's got to pitch more often. He's got to pitch well. Ryan Russell is also an important piece of this bullpen, but we've got a really good bullpen. The game should have gotten Cy Young votes. More Cy Young votes last season, in my opinion. That's just how I feel. But it's going to come down to Ida. With Ida and a healthy Condon, I think we easily make the postseason, and I have great expectations for the World Series. If Ida doesn't work, or if somebody else gets hurt that we can't easily replace, I think the season could turn not totally ugly. I think we've got enough depth top to bottom in this lineup that losing any one player doesn't completely fuck us. But we're in bad trouble if we lose Ida or Condon in particular. So, big season coming up. Very big season. Until next time, my friends, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to see more. And I bid you good day.